shut that one actually. Okay. Alright. And I'll show you. All right, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, knock.
Yes, come in.
Good morning, Robert. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. How are
Nice
you?
to meet you, Matthew Dailey.
Matthew.
I'm going to give you my business card real quick before we
Go ahead.
forget.
Shut that, Matt.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm going to have a seat right here.
Sure.
I'm going to give this to you. If you have any questions after the meeting, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm available. Well, I just really want to thank you for taking the time to have this meeting this morning. I really appreciate you allowing Seminole Insurance to look at your insurance
card for you.
Okay, awesome. Well, my name is Matthew Dailey. I'm here on behalf of Seminole Insurance.
I met John at the alumni event.
Oh, yes, yeah. You John, the agency owner?
Yes.
Yes, okay. He's an FSU alumni. Are you as well?
I am.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yes, and I think he's in Alaska, right?
Yes, he is in Alaska right now, having a great vacation.
I've heard it's just absolutely beautiful. I've never been, so
yeah.
Hope he's having a good time.
Yeah, he is. And I'm actually a former Knoll myself, graduated in the class of 2016. So
Go
Seminoles, yeah. Yeah. I actually believe I may have had some of my upper level sales classes with your son John.
Okay.
He and I would actually go over to the Seminole golf course and play a few rounds once in a while.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's a pretty exceptional player.
Okay.
Is it fair to say he learned a little his shot from you?
Maybe so. His grandfather was a really good player too, so yeah.
Nice.
He taught him a thing or two.
All right. Well, John, my purpose here today is to look at your current insurance plan and try to figure out if there's some areas that you may have some excess coverage in, so we can eliminate those and increase some coverages in some areas you may not have coverage in currently.
Okay.
So you guys have the best protection possible.
Okay.
So to give you an idea of who we are here at Seminole Insurance Agency, we've been in business over 65 years. We're a family-owned company based right out of Tallahassee,
okay.
And we only operate in the golf and country club area of insurance. We have over 200 years of industry experience with our company, with all of our employees.
Okay.
What we want to do is we want to make sure that you guys realize that we're not an insurance agency, we're a relationship agency. There's a lot more to insurance than just giving you guys a plan, and we want to work with you guys hands-on to make sure that you understand some of the risks that your business is currently looking at. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good. Let me ask you a quick question or two.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, hop right in.
So, at some point we're all, developing experience in whatever we currently do in the, professional world. You obviously haven't been doing this that long. So that might be a bit of a concern for our insurance committee that's conducting this review process. What should I share with them?
Oh, definitely.
As far as why that's not a big deal.
Yeah, well, obviously me and John would be working on your account together. He has over 30 years of experience. And like I said, I graduated in the class of 2016. I'm out for 3 years. We have the whole Seminole Insurance Agency behind you. Although I'm your point of contact, I'm the quarterback, the whole team is behind you. And I'm looking forward to gaining your trust and showing you that I'm very knowledgeable in this area.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, awesome. Well, I just wanted to ask you a few questions about your current insurance provider. It says here that he's based up in Atlanta. Could you tell me a little bit about your relationship with him?
Yeah, so it's Billy Bob Insurance Agency. They've got a golf course program that our prior general manager put in place with the prior committee. So the relationship has been good to date, but I think there's just an interest within the committee to make sure that we've got the right kind of architecture and coverages to protect us into the future, because we do have a lot of big changes on the horizon that we're excited about.
Okay, nice.
So I wouldn't say we're unhappy. But if there's a more kind of advantageous program for our club through a local provider, we give strong consideration to it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm really glad to hear that. And does he ever discuss some sort of risk management profile with you guys or anything along those lines?
Yeah.
With Pinecrest? Okay. Okay. And has he ever gone over a catastrophe plan or something like that? Put something in place?
We have discussed that. We're curious about evaluating disaster recovery plan a bit further. That issue is particularly concerning to me, given what I've gone through in the past.
Actually, yeah, could you explain a little bit? Have you managed any other previous
I
clubs?
have. So I was at Panama Country Club, and I'm gonna get sad even thinking about it. So we went through Michael, and it was just a disaster, man. It was an absolute mess, and it really opened my eyes to the importance of disaster recovery planning and how important it really is to have, you know, the right risk and insurance service provider behind you to support you in the event of claim.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I'm really sorry to hear that, Robert. Unfortunately, you know, insurance is something we never want to make a claim on, especially something like that where it's a catastrophe. But you know, living in Florida, hurricanes are a very real thing here, and we have to be prepared for that sort of situation. And to give you an idea of who we are, Seminole Insurance, we're a customer-centric company. We're a relationship agency, like I said. We want to make sure that we're coming in here not just when you guys have problems, but when things are going well as well. We want to be the knowledgeable people you can turn to, ask questions to. And like I said, we're just based here in Tallahassee. We only take local clients. We like to be able to go down to the course and be able to shake hands and talk in person because a lot of things can be solved in person better than they can be solved over the phone.
Good, I see value there.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, obviously we want to start getting into some of your coverages. Building and property coverage, we want to make sure we get an appraisal on you guys' building. Do you have a recent appraisal by any chance?
I don't believe we have.
Okay, well, we can definitely get one of those for you guys. You know, obviously, building and personal property insurance are going to be some of the more drivers of cost in the insurance. So we want to make sure you guys get the right coverage so that if you were to have to rebuild, you have the correct amount of money. We want to make sure you don't have any excess coverage either.
Now, when you say get an appraisal, could you give me a little more?
Yeah, definitely. We have a software, Swift and Marshall appraisal system, which basically tries to put a dollar value based on everything.
Okay, I got perfect. Yeah, we probably wouldn't be interested in paying for like a formal appraisal.
Oh, no, definitely. That would be all taken care of by our agency, and we would actually have that available for our next meeting if you're interested. And I noticed online that said the building was built in 1979. Is that correct?
Yep, 1979.
Okay. Well, just a little area I do want to talk to you about is something called law or ordinance coverage, and basically this is something a lot of businesses don't consider when they're buying insurance. If your building were to be destroyed, you know, oftentimes buildings that were built in 1979 do not have the correct ADA compliancy. They usually don't have sprinkler systems, the hurricane roof, and our insurance would only cover you to rebuild the building how it is exactly right now.
Okay.
And so oftentimes people's buildings are destroyed and they're on the hook for hundreds of thousands of dollars in renovations that they just didn't expect or see coming in the first place. So we want to make sure we get you guys the correct coverage for that. Does that sound like something that would interest you guys?
It would very much interest us. We dealt with that issue during Michael, and it was very frustrating part of the claim experience to find out that we actually didn't have ordinance and law coverage.
Yeah, and it's something we really definitely want to talk about. And then you mentioned at your previous club that you guys you had business income insurance, or did you not?
We did.
You did. Okay.
Thankfully, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, and that actually got handled relatively well.
It got handled relatively well. Well, what we want to make sure is we get the right business income insurance for you guys. Obviously, if you ever had to close your doors for any reasons, we don't want you guys thinking about the mortgage payments or the taxes or the payroll, equipment loans, because the revenue has stopped, but the expenses unfortunately do not. We want you guys thinking about your customers and rebuilding your business and reopening your doors. So what business income insurance would do would basically provide you with that money during your time of need. And we want to also make sure we get the right valuation on that because oftentimes people are extremely underinsured.
That's what I've learned throughout my career.
Yeah.
That's a meticulous calculation, and so you've got to get that right. So we certainly appreciate a risk and insurance service provider that's very detail oriented that helps us through that process. I can't stand when somebody just says, "Hey, here's a PI worksheet." I think that's what you call it.
Yeah.
Fill it out.
Yeah.
Why don't you come meet with me and help me fill it out?
Yeah. And we actually have a proprietary formula we use at Seminole Insurance to try to evaluate it. We always give 18 months, and the reason for that is 18 months of income for you guys because oftentimes after a hurricane, you're not the only one rebuilding. Everyone in the area is working on getting permits. Everyone in the area, and so it gets very congested. So it takes a lot longer to reopen your doors than people usually realize. So we want to make sure you have the proper protection.
Yeah, our broker has shared that. I think he called it demand surge.
Yes.
What happens. Yeah.
Especially after storms. And I noticed when I walked in that you guys actually have some memorabilia on the wall, some golf balls and the green jacket out there. Have you guys gotten appraisal on those before?
We have not got a formal appraisal, but I think we feel pretty confident in the limits we're carrying for that particular exposure, just because we're aware of what that stuff's.
Okay, awesome. Well, the next area I really want to discuss is tees and greens coverage. So this is something that's very specific, obviously, to country clubs. This is going to protect your tees and your green boxes. Under your current insurance plan, you guys have a $50,000 per hole limit. And what that means basically is that you can't spend more than $50,000 per hole, even though your overall limit may be $1 million. Hole 7 gets $180,000 of damage, and hole 2 has no damage. Unfortunately, you can only put $50,000 into hole 7.
Yeah.
And we want to work on getting some of those limits up a little bit higher because we just don't think that that's the proper amount of protection for you guys.
Sure.
Sound interesting to you?
Yeah, we certainly want to make sure we're adequately protected there. I think we're probably in a good place. Would be my guess, but certainly open to somebody else reviewing.
Yeah, definitely. And we'd also want to look at you guys' like sprinkler systems, irrigation equipment, especially after a storm. It's very expensive things that get ripped out of the ground. Obviously, to remove them and then to put in new system can be very, very expensive. So we want to make sure we get the correct coverage on those as well.
Matt, can I?
Yeah, hop right in.
Kind of change course real quick. What I think it's important to know that what we're mainly looking to achieve here is ensuring, well, two things, kind of a review of what we currently have, but then we'd like some guidance on, suggestions for evolving our insurance program as the club evolves with a ton of renovations that are upcoming.
What sort of renovations are you looking at?
So we've got a plan in place to grow membership by about 10% a year over the next 5 years or so. And so we're going to be likely putting in an executive course and doing some other upgrades around the club that we think will really make this place much more marketable.
Okay.
And then we're going to try to do some things to raise a little more money.
Okay, nice. And John actually mentioned to me that you guys have a golf tournament coming up. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So Glenn Greenspan, check this out, is a spokesman for Tiger Woods. And so Glenn's going to help us put on an event early next year that will benefit the first tee of Northwest Florida. And we're counting on these upgrades being done by then to really make a kind of a splash in the local community and support a really good worthy cause.
Yeah.
So that's just the first event, and we'll be doing more of those on a regular basis. So
nice. Okay. We could definitely work with you guys to get some special event coverage. So what this would be separate from your general liability, and it would protect the participants as well as the spectators, because I'm sure you're gonna have a lot more on the course than usual. And that would help you guys if anybody were to hurt themselves, break their leg, anything like that. That would be coverage for you guys, and it would be separate from your general liability. So if you did have to make a claim, it wouldn't affect your premiums on your general liability plan. And we can also talk about some sort of cancellation coverage, things like that for that event, because obviously that would be something you guys are probably worried about as well. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any concerns for me specifically about Seminole Insurance Agency or some of the services we offer?
Yeah, I do. Thanks for asking. You're now familiar with the terrible, heart-wrenching experience we experienced through Michael. And so I need to learn a little bit more about, how Seminole Insurance Agency advocates for their clients when a loss occurs.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we're, like I said, a relationship agency. We want to make sure that we're working with you guys hands-on. Anybody can give you guys an insurance quote, and that's the truth. And oftentimes, some people can actually undercut our prices. But what we're trying to do is give you guys the highest level of protection possible. Like I said, we're a very transparent company. We want you to understand the sort of coverages that you have so that if we're a catastrophe to strike, you guys know where you're covered and where you're not covered.
Yeah.
Insurance is a very complicated world, and my job is just to make you guys understand it a little bit better.
Okay. So what would your recommendations be then, Matt, in terms of how we should go about evaluating Seminole Insurance Agency and a couple other firms relative to our current provider? I've had awful experiences just having a bunch of agents go out and get quotes. So how do you think we should handle that?
Well, obviously, I'm looking at your current insurance plan now, and I'm seeing a couple of the gaps in it. Obviously, shopping around is one thing. You guys should go to as many people as you possibly can to get it.
As many brokers or as many carriers?
I would say brokers. See what sort of areas they can offer, because we work with the carrier to try to get you guys some extra coverages in some areas that you may have gaps currently. But we want to make sure that you guys understand exactly what you are insured for and what you're not insured for. Like I said, we have an awful thing in the insurance agency where people disappear for 11 months and then show up again around renewal season. we're going to be here every month. We actually have a list of some clients here, and I'm sure you'll recognize a couple of the names on this list, some other managers in the area who we do business with. You can feel free to give any of them a call. I'm sure they will give us a sparkling.
You know Kevin Parkins?
Yes, Kevin Parkins is a good friend
What a
of mine.
guy. Tell
Yes.
him I said hi.
Yes, definitely. Well, obviously, we're very excited to do. Sorry, go right ahead.
Oh, I'm just curious if there's anything unique you've done. I mean, we were just talking about Kevin. Anything unique you've done for Swanee or Southwood or any of these clubs that would be relevant to us?
Yeah, definitely. We worked with them to get some extended coverages in some areas that they don't have currently. One of the areas we really worked with was equipment breakdown, because here in Florida, AC units are super, super important. You guys would have to close your doors more than likely, and that's lost revenue for the restaurant, for the clubhouse, for the pro, everybody. And we want to make sure that they have the coverage. Oh, well, that is my time. But I know we only have 15 minutes here today. I want to make sure that.
All right, that's time.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Stay in here though, because they're gonna take a picture of you.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, so we